Welcome to the Living Room Vibe podcast. I'm your host, Danny Lourdes, creating a space where real people have raw conversations. Make yourself at home and let's get into it. Guys, can we talk about how life sometimes throws you the most unexpected blessings? Like you just going around minding your own business and suddenly you find yourself co-authoring a book with a living icon. Oh my gosh. That's exactly what happened to me. And today I'm going to take you behind the scenes of my journey with the Wisdom Gifts 2 book. So let me put you on game about something powerful that's been in the works. I recently had the opportunity to co author a book called Wisdom Gifts 2. And when I tell you this project is special, baby, and not just because your girl is a co author in it, okay? So let me start by breaking down what GIFT stands for. G for gratitude, I for intention, F for forgiveness, T for triumph, and S for self love. When I first heard these words, they hit different for me because it wasn't just an acronym. I thought of it like the five elements of a personal growth recipe. You know how sometimes you meet someone and it feels like the universe kind of just orchestrated the whole thing? That's how it felt when I met Kim Coles. Like many of you, I grew up watching, what was it, Living Single. But I want to tell you about the Kim I got to know during us working together on this book. Um, I got to know the mentor, the visionary, the woman who sees the gift in every story. So I was at a conference and um, let's see, maybe a year ago? Yeah, almost a year ago, I was at a conference in Charlotte and Kim was one of the guest speakers. And you know how like afterwards, when someone famous is speaking and or whatever at a conference or you get to see them and stuff like that, like you don't really have access to them. And you kind of just wave, maybe take a picture of them. And you just kind of keep it moving because they're usually just kind of rushed out the door on to the next thing. And for me, um, Kim, she just chilled with the people, with the common folk. And it was cool because I was like, I don't know, should I like go up and say hi and introduce myself? Or should I just give her space? Because I'm sure she gets this all the time. And, so I'm just thinking about what is it that I should do. And I was like, you know what, whatever. I just want to say hi. And if, you know, she's like, nah, not right now, then it is what it is. So I ended up going up to her, waiting in line because people were taking pictures with her and, talking to her. And so here, here's my turn. And, she's like, would you like a picture? And I was like, heck yeah. So I take a picture with her, and obviously I'm not taking it myself. Someone else is taking it with my phone. And I'm like, thank you so much, whatever. And I know there's people behind me waiting. So I move along, take my phone, and then I look at my picture and it's blurry. And I'm like, what the fire? I was so irritated. And I'm like, geez, okay, you could have checked. I took multiple pictures to make sure one was good at least. And so I'm like, you know what, that's fine, whatever. I had my opportunity and it just kind of passed. And then I was like, nah, I'm finna go try to get another one. And so she's on her way out the door and she's with her manager and he's kind of like ushering her out the door. And I was just like, okay, if there's an opportunity, I'm gonna take it. And someone started talking to her manager and I was like, opportunity stop. And so I just went up to her and I was like, "Hey, Kim," I was like, I know we just took a picture, but can I take another one because it was blurry?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And so she was like, we took a picture and she was like, "Check it to make sure it's good." And um, I take it and, it's good and stuff. And I was just like, thanking her for her speech at the conference. And I was like, it was so good. I was telling her what I got out of it and all this other stuff and how I want to write like an autobiography of my life. And I was like, it's like a lifetime story. I feel like it could be a movie, a lifetime movie. And so we started talking a little bit about it. And then she was like, actually, I was wanting to do another book. And so we started talking about it. And I was like, I would love to work on this with you. And so we exchanged information. And at first I was like, we're not going to connect. Like, you know how, she a celebrity. So I'm like, ain't nobody gonna call me, ain't nobody gonna email me, whatever. But she did. And I was like, oh snap, it's real. And so I was like, okay, we're doing it. And so that's how Kim and I got together. Working with her on this project has been a breeze. Kim, honestly, I feel like how she is on TV with in Living Single, as far as like her bubbly character, her honesty, her warmth, her humbleness, all of that is truly her. Like that wasn't even her acting; that was just her being her. And it was really cool because whenever we would talk on Zoom and about the project and all that stuff, like, she is in her house, I'm in my house, and we just talking and chit chatting about life, and then we get into the work, and it was pretty cool because she made me feel like she wasn't over me in the project, but a partner with me in the project. And I really appreciated the way that she just coached me through finding my story, right? Which one I wanted to share. And I was like, at first, I was telling her some things, and she was like, I feel like this needs to be what you talk about. And I was like, nah, fam. I don't want to talk about nothing personal. And so she was like, no, I really feel like this, I think I want you to think about it because, I really think this would be great. And I was like, okay. So, I still was like, I don't want to do nothing personal. And so I was like, I'm gonna write whatever I want to write. But here's the thing about writing your story. It's like cleaning out your closet. And writing this chapter felt just like that. It was raw, it was real, it was transformative. Like, you have to decide what to keep, what to share, what not to share, what to let go of. And writing this chapter was like having a heart to heart with myself. And phew, let me tell you, some days the words flowed like water, and other days it was like trying to squeeze water out of a rock. um, you know how in the black and brown hair community industry or whatever you want to call it, we talk about the big chop as a moment of transformation. Writing this chapter was literally my big chop, like cutting away the fear, the doubt, and stepping fully into my story. And it was hard because, first and foremost, I'm a private person. And when I started writing, I was trying to not share anything personal about me, like I said before. I was like, you know what, let me just do a fluff piece, and without, divulging too much about me. I'm really good about having people feel really close to me without me sharing too much about myself. And I think Kim saw through that for sure. But with her coaching and me kind of looking at my writing like I was writing in my diary or in my journal, the words just started to flow, and it was great. And from that, my authentic personal story started to unfold. So there's this part in the book where I talk about this Saturday afternoon being a regular day, and I was sitting with my son Ethan trying to get him to try some new food. Now, if you know anything about autism and sensory processing disorder, you know it was not just about the food. They have so much going on in their little minds and bodies. But anyway, I had this profound revelation in that moment in watching him just try to communicate in his own way that sometimes our biggest challenges are actually equipping us for our greatest gifts. And gosh, I want to share more, but that's all I'm going to say about that moment for now. But let me tell you, it changed everything about how I saw my journey. So I've given y'all a little taste, but the full meal, that's in the book. Y'all got to get the book. And trust me, it's a soul food feast of telling stories that need to be heard, wisdoms that need to be shared, and truths that need to be celebrated. You have to grab a copy of Wisdom Gifts 2 to dive deeper into not just my story, which I think you guys are going to love, but the powerful stories of all the other amazing contributors as well. Reading this book is literally going to be like having a heart to heart with a group of friends who've, I don't know, been through the fire and have come out stronger on the other side. And speaking of diving deeper, Wisdom Gifts 2 is now available for pre-order. Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? Wisdom Gifts 2 is now available for pre-order at wisdomgiftswithdanny, DANI.com. Wisdomgiftswithdanny, DANI.com. So don't wait to secure your copy of this transformative gem. I think you guys are really going to love it. But before we wrap up today's episode, just want to remind you guys that we drop new episodes every Wednesday. So hit that notification bell to stay in the loop. That's all for today's episode of the Living Room Vibe podcast, where real people have raw conversations. I'm your host, Danny Lourdes. Thanks for vibing with me. If you're feeling the vibe, follow us on Instagram at the LRV podcast, as well as hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. It helps more people find their way to our living room. And as always, thanks for listening. Bye.